Assalamualaikum and greetings to my respective lecturer, Miss Fatin, and dear listeners. My name is Ahmad Farhan bin Mohammed, and today I will present about my oral presentation of Pragmatic Failures for my chosen movie, which is G20, which was premiered in 2025. Now, let's get to it. Before we dig deeper into the Pragmatic Failures excerpts, let's talk about the meaning of Pragmatic Failures itself. Pragmatic failure occurs when a speaker's intended meaning is misunderstood by the listeners, not because of grammar or vocabulary errors, but because of differences in cultural norms, context, or how something is said. For example, a non-native speaker might say, "Can you pass the salt?" and mean it literally. But in some cultures, the same phrase might sound too direct or rude without a please. This often happens in intercultural communication when what's considered polite, appropriate, or humorous in one culture might be offensive or confusing in one another. Now, let's talk about the synopsis of the selected excerpts. Excerpt 1. Now, in this excerpt, Madam President is training martial art with many Ruiz, his primary secret agent service, as for the preparation before attending the G20 summit at Cape Town, South Africa. When many ask the president's knee condition due to previous warfare participation, the president responds indirectly, running from the relevance to his answer, but still conveys the answer. This showcases a violation of maxim of quantity when she is giving less information than required. Now, excerpt 2. In this excerpt, the UK, Italy, South Korean, and USA presidents are trapped and figuring out a way of the terrorist attack that happened around the building, especially in the ballroom where other world leaders are located. When POTUS discovered an idea, to breach the perimeter of the building but need a cover idea, many came up with an idea to use the beast. At this moment, Alina, the Italian president, is confused with the term beast and considered the beast as a living animal. This showcases pragma linguistic failure because a lack of shared background knowledge or American cultural context. Now, let's discuss the reason these two pragmatic failures happens. Reason 1. Based on excerpt 1, implicature or cooperative principle happens when a Madam President violates the maximum of quantity. In this scene, many ask the US President, "How's your knee?" and she responds with "no complaints." This is a clear violation of the maximum of quantity because she provides less information than what's reasonably expected. Many who is responsible for her well-being receive no concrete answer, just a vague, polite phrase. This leads to a pragmatic failure because the listener, many, understand the literal words but cannot interpret the actual condition of the Madam President's knee. The failure stems from the lack of specificity, especially when some more information is clearly expected. Another key reason for this failure lies in Hofstede's power distance dimension. As a high-status figure, the president may intentionally limit how much personal detail she shares, reinforcing her position of authority and emotional control. In high-power distance settings, subordinates are not expected to question or probe deeply, and leaders often maintain distance through reserved communication. So, her minimal response isn't just a personal style, it reflects a cultural norm tied to status and power, which in this moment causes a gap in understanding and leads to breakdown in practical communication. Now, based on excerpt 2, in this scene, when many suggest using the bees to escape the building, Elena, the Italian president, misunderstands and assumes he's referring to an actual animal. This is clear pragmatic failure when the literal words are understood, but the intended meaning is lost due to cultural mismatch. There are two key reasons for this. First, the failure simply comes down to a lack of shared cultural background. The beast is a culturally specific term known mainly in American political circles. It refers to the armored presidential vehicle. Without familiarity with US terminology, Elena could not interpret the phrase as intended despite understanding each word. Second, according to Hofstede's uncertainty avoidance, Italy scores high, meaning the Italians generally prefer clear unambiguous communication, especially in crisis situations. Elena wasn't expecting slang or a coded term. She needed straightforward language to process urgent decisions. The vague of American reference, did not meet that expectation, leading to confusion. This misalignment in expectation and background knowledge is what turns a normal exchange into a pragmatic failure. Now, let's talk about the effects of pragmatic failures on the interlocutors and the others around them. The violation to maxim of quantity affects many because it creates uncertainty for many. Her lead security agent, as the interlocutor, he's left unsure about her true physical condition, which is critical given the dangerous environment they are about to enter. This uncertainty may undermine his ability to make informed or protective decisions, potentially risking her safety. And then the indirectness also signals emotional toughness or control, which might be admirable in leadership, but it comes at a cost. Others around her, like security personnel or advisors, may hesitate to ask further or challenge her words, assuming she's fine when she may not be. In high stress, intercultural context, this kind of under-communication can cause breakdowns in trust, planning, efficiency, or because the message wasn't pragmatically clear. It reminds that even a small failure in communication can ripple through a team where clarity matters most. Now, effects 2. In this scene, Elena's confusion about the term the beast, thinking it's a literal animal, causes immediate confusion and delay. As the interlocutor, Elena misinterprets the term, leading to a breakdown in understanding that disrupt the flow of the conversation. Instead of moving forward with the plan, there's a brief pause for clarification, wasting valuable time in a crisis situation. Imagine that. Now, for the rest of the group, the breakdown disrupts coordination, wastes times, and adds pressure. It shows how culturally specific terms, even when linguistically simple, can cause serious miscommunication when assumed to be universally understood. And now, according to Alvin 2018, the US presidential car is called the Beast because of its heavy, armored, advanced security features and formidable appearances. And any miscommunication jeopardizes the decision-making process. In high-stake moments like this, even a small understanding can affect not only the immediate response but also the safety and success of the group, highlighting how crucial shared understanding cultural is in fast-paced intercultural settings. Now, recommendation. To avoid violation of the maxim of quantity, leaders should ensure that they provide sufficient information in their responses, especially in critical situations. In the no complaints scene, the president's brief response with no complaints didn't give enough detail about her physical condition, leaving many being uncertain and potentially misjudging the situation. Leaders should offer the right amount of information, enough to be clear without overloading or under-informing, I would say. Another recommendation is to create an environment of trust and open communication where clear and transparent exchanges are encouraged. This ensures that even in high-pressure scenarios, leaders can convey what's needed without withholding key details that might hinder decision-making. Now, finally, leaders should recognize that providing clear, direct information isn't a sign of weakness, even in cultures where indirectness is valued. Whether in high-power situation or intercultural context, clarity should always be prioritized to avoid misunderstandings that could affect outcomes, especially in high-risk environments. By adhering to these practices, leaders can prevent pragmatic failure and ensure more effective and cooperative communication. Now, recommendation 2, to avoid pragmatic linguistic failures, communicators like many and the president should be mindful of culture-specific terms of slang. In the B scene, the term the beast, which refers to the US presidential vehicle, causes confusion actually for Elena. To avoid such misunderstandings, it's crucial to use plain language that is universally understood, especially in high-stress, high-stake situation like Elena involved in. Additionally, in multicultural teams, it is important to build shared knowledge over time. This can be achieved, through ongoing cultural awareness training or by encouraging open dialogue about terms or references, they might not be widely understood. As intercultural communication improves, misunderstandings like this become less frequent. And then by implementing these strategies, leaders can ensure that everyone is on the same page, improving coordination and preventing pragmatic linguistic failures that disrupt effective communication. Now let's talk about the conclusion already. In conclusion, pragmatic failures occur when a communication lacks clarity or shared cultural understanding. Hofstede's theories help us understand how communication style differs across culture. It's not just about words; it's about but the context and shared knowledge behind them. For instance, the president responded no complaints violated the maximum quantity, providing less information than necessary. While Elena's confusion over the bees reveals a pragma linguistic failure due to cultural reference gaps. The key lessons here is to prioritize understanding over assumptions. In cross-cultural settings, adapting communication styles to cultural expectations ensures clearer, more effective settings, exchanges, preventing miscommunications, and building stronger and more cooperative teams. I think that's all for me. I hope you like it. Thank you so much.